I eventually did make it to Artie's apartment there in Hoboken, and it was real weird. He told me to come in, have a seat. He asked if I wanted a water or anything. I said no. And he told me he had to go to the bathroom and powder his nose real quick. He'd be out. He said, just give him 2-3 minutes. 4 hours I sat in his apartment by myself, like while he was locked in the bathroom. And he was just dripping blood from his nose the whole time. And he smelled awful, like a homeless person. Had sweatpants, I mean, he's never known for, I think, being like hygienic, but it was like real hard to see who I consider the funniest person of all time. It was hard to see him that way.
That's Ricky Melton over there. Ricky, thank you for joining me. I'm sorry you supposedly had a wonderful backdrop, and then I ruined it by being late, and now we're in your car. But that's fine. That's a good backdrop, too. I like green grass, green trees.
Yeah, I left my house. I was going to go to one of those rage rooms because I was mad at you for being late, but I got your text on the way.
You've been doing this a long time, and you did, like I said, we contacted each other. I don't remember who contacted who. But there was a point where you're saying, hey, I have a pretty funny Artie Lange story. And, of course, this channel, we talk Artie Lange a lot. And I did look up that story. But you were opening for him. Go ahead and just give us the whole from the beginning.
So, okay. I guess before I used to do the one-man show, I was just trying to be a stand-up comedian, which is easier said than done. And I invented my own game show, I guess is a good place to start. Game show is called Win to Lose, a dirty game show. And how you would play it is I would present a stunt to the audience, and they would bid the lowest amount they were willing to do that stunt for. So whoever won the bid won, but they lost, win to lose, because then they had to come on stage and do the stunt. So I had this game show that I was promoting, and I was doing shows, and I would always try to get more famous comedians to come open the show up so I could actually sell tickets. So I had like Screech, Bob Levy, like those kind of acts. And were you a fan of Artie's podcast at all after he left Howard Stern?
Not really.
See, I was obsessed with it, and I still listen to like the old episodes. And I actually wrote a song parody for one of their shows. And it got Artie's attention where he wanted to contact me, and he invited me out to his house, and I ended up trying to get him to come open up my show, but he didn't want anything to do with the game show. But he did end up taking me on the road with him for a bit of time. This was right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of his, drugged out, nose falling apart. So I still don't know that I ever met the real Artie. But
2019,
I
right?
Time with him,
2020
based off of that song parody it wasn't a contest. I think I just sent him a song parody that he liked.
2019, right? The year, like, sounds like around there.
Oh, 2017.
So
I want to say.
So you opened for him how many times, and just talk about why you didn't think you got to meet the real Artie.
Well, okay, so don't hold me if anybody goes and fact checks this, because it's been a while ago and I'm just going off memory. But I booked a show where I was just gonna open for him out here in Akron, Ohio, and he is kind of famously no-showed it. Like, he canceled an hour or two beforehand after I sold about $30,000 worth of tickets that I had to refund. I already paid him, his deposit. I rented the theater and paid all this advertising stuff. So he kind of owed me money, and I think he felt bad and owed me a favor. So I met him the following week after that show. He let me open for him in Pittsburgh. It was my first time, but to play the theater called the Carnegie at Homestead Music Hall. And I got to open for him, and he was just dripping blood from his nose the whole time, and he smelled awful, like a homeless person. Had sweatpants, I mean, he's never known for, I think, being like hygienic, but it was like real hard to see who I consider the funniest person of all time. It was hard to see him that way. So yeah, that was my first time actually meeting him. From there, he was supposed to pay me back the money he owed me, and you're talking tens of thousands of dollars. But he forgot his checkbook, I guess. So he told me I could open for him. Do you know Dan Filato?
Don't know that name.
That was his producer on his DirecTV show, and then manager for a time. You should definitely look into getting him on the podcast. He's an interesting guy. Anyhow, I was more dealing with him, but he told me I could open for Artie. He was doing a string of shows on the East Coast, like Baltimore. But it seemed like every week I'd be driving halfway to Baltimore, and I'd get a call from Dan Filato telling me that Artie was like arrested, turned back around. And that happened like off and on for a bit. I eventually did make it to Artie's apartment there in Hoboken, and it was real weird. He told me to come in, have a seat. He asked if I wanted a water or anything. I said no. And he told me he had to go to the bathroom and powder his nose real quick. He'd be out. He said, just give him 2-3 minutes. 4 hours I sat in his apartment by myself, like while he was locked in the bathroom. Eventually did go to get a water out of the fridge. There was nothing in the fridge. I just found that funny. And he took me to the Comedy Cellar that night, where it seemed like kind of the comics were upset with him and real pissed off at me for some reason. I think they thought I was like a drug dealer or something maybe. But I also got a kick out, Jim Norton, comedian. He actually took a picture of me with his phone, came up and showed it to me and told me if anything happened to Artie, he was taking my picture to the police. It was just real dirty scene, but kind of funny and surreal. But no, yeah. So I never really had any deep heart-to-heart conversations with Artie. Like even when I was on the road opening for him, he never talked too much. He was kind of shut down and falling apart, and it was kind of sad to watch. I mean, everybody kind of later publicly watched it happen.
So you're at
I guess I don't like that.
I was going to say, you're there for 4 hours. Did you just let yourself out, or did he actually finally come out and say, hey?
Oh, no, I wasn't going anywhere. He owed me tens of thousands of dollars. I would have waited for days. But, yeah, he came out ready to go and hit the town. And I'm in pretty good shape. He was hard to keep up with, even when he was fat and on heroin. He walks real fast in between traffic. And I'm not a city person at all, so it was difficult to keep up with him.
I guess no contact with him of late.
Oh, so I guess short story long, he did end up paying me back just about everything he owed me. But he told me he said never to contact me again, never to talk to him again. Which, again, from your hero, it's kind of a jab to the heart. But he thought that him letting me hang, he wasn't letting me open for him because I'm like a great comic. He thought that me hanging out with him was like payment back. Like he kind of alluded to that, hey, I've been letting you hang out with me and I took you to my apartment stuff, so I shouldn't have to pay you back tens of thousands of dollars. And I like him. I love him. I think he's funny, but I'm not like a star effer like that where I cared. I just wanted the money. I'm more money driven, I guess.
Yeah, I wish. It's too bad what's happening. I've heard that he's doing well. That's what people say, and that we may be seeing him again. So hopefully the problem was just medically or chemically induced. This is what we can.
I'm kind of sure that's what it was, but what's the odds I'm ever going to meet him again? I don't know. I'm wondering if he's like high enough or if he was high enough that when he did pay me back, maybe he doesn't remember paying me back. I might be able to try to collect some interest off of him.
He doesn't live in Hoboken anymore. Does he still have that apartment? Do we even know?
I don't know. I have no idea. Kind of a shitty apartment, by the way.
Let's tell you, open the door and tell me what it looks like.
Oh, when I went in, there was another guy there. I can't remember his name, but it was just a young, skinny guy who was like in the spare bedroom. He came out and said hi. He seemed very normal, and then he just left. But there was no explanation of who he was. Other than that, I'm gonna guess maybe like a 1,200 square foot apartment. Probably would be $800 a month if it wasn't on the Hudson River with a pretty damn good view. But yeah, nothing stood out.
Yeah, you mentioned
no blood stains on the couch or anything.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's
4 hours to kill.
It's crazy that he was bleeding, but you know, you talked about how you enjoyed his podcast. I like him on the Stern Show. It's kind of that second guy. Once he started leading his own thing, it was a different thing for me. Just I don't know. And then it sort of was kind of. I was kind of over.
You didn't watch the direct TV show or anything?
I tried. Yeah, I just didn't. I didn't like him as a lead. Like I liked him as that funny, quick wit sidekick thing. Even at the end of the time in the Stern Show, once he started kind of breaking down, it kind of even almost became monotonous. Okay, Artie's gonna fall asleep. Artie's, you know, why? It almost got to the point where I'm like, this is not. It just was sad, you know, and my thing with him, you know, people like to hear, you know, where is he? And that's what I've been doing. It's like, where is he? Let's hear about him. And I'm a fan. I've met him a few times myself, and I do think, you know, he was a mess the time I met him, I thought, but I couldn't tell. But no, yeah, I wasn't a real fan of his own thing. Like, I don't know why. I don't think he's a great interviewer, so maybe that's it.
I'm a fan of both, but if you ever go back and listen to some of the podcast episodes where it was just him and his partner, Dan Pilato, just sitting in his kitchen, like BSing, or the way he would just like pick on people, and like he was very mean, but it was so funny. I suggest maybe giving another listen if you ever get bored. It's good. I'll put it on. It's better than anything on the radio nowadays, so I'll listen to it. So
yeah. Well, he seemed like he was okay during those days at DirecTV, and then the nose thing happened kind of 2017, 20. So he had kind of seemingly a decent period, although he did he peed in the studio that Nick DiPaolo talked about. So I guess that was probably not a good moment for him.
It was funny though.
It's funny as long as it's funny, right? That's all that matters.
Yeah, and as long as I'm not involved where I'm losing money and he's picking on somebody else, it's funny.
So tell me about just your career right now. You're going around. How many stops do we have on this summer tour of excitement?
I have 3 shows left. I have Saturday, June 15th. I'm in Chandler, Arizona at a place called the Mic Drop Comedy Club. Tickets for that at micdropmania.com. Saturday, June 22nd, Streetor, Illinois, the 122 Club.com. And then Friday night, the big one, June 28th, St. Louis, Greenfinch Theater and Dive. Tickets are at greenfinchstl.com. I'd imagine most of your listeners are in the St. Louis area, or are you?
No, I think we got a fairly big market here of people that come in, and that's what doing the live thing I noticed. Just people, Sweden and Finland and Denmark. Like, it's crazy. Because I'll ask them, like, where's everybody watching from? And so it's not really a St. Louis thing. There are a lot of people who come here because they you know, it started as a St. Louis thing, but no, it's become something bigger.
Why am I talking to you then? Trying to sell some tickets.
Oh, I mean, people from around. Maybe you see some people from Denmark and Canada that just want to.
Oh yeah, it might fly in. It'd be worth it if I do say so myself. It's a real small place. I think it's 85 seats or so it shouldn't be too hard to fill up. Hopefully, knock on wood.
Well, I think, like you said, the last stop on your tour could be the last stop of your life. So good luck. And
odds are, it won't work out any further in this. But.
And what happened with you and Screech? I met Screech. He came through town and was. I had enjoyed him. We actually spent some time with him for a little bit after his show, and I was shocked. Now, I was fairly hammered too, but I found it very funny. I found him way funnier than I expected.
I was listening to one of your live shows a day or two ago, and I heard you say that, and it surprised me. I mean, he wasn't bad. I hired him to open up for that game show I was telling you about. He was just I don't know, he was an asshole to me. Since I was promoting the show, it was my job to pick him up at the airport. I was super excited because I was born in 1982, so I grew up watching him every Saturday morning. Screech was a A-list celebrity to me. I get to the airport, and I see him standing there, and I roll the window down, tell him to hop on in, and he just stood there staring at me. So I broke the silence by telling him he could throw his bag in the back seat and head on to the show. He just stood there, and he finally broke the silence by telling me it was my job as the driver to get out and open his car door for him. And it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but whatever, I kind of let it go. I didn't like that he was charging people for pictures, but I guess I found out since that's pretty common for, like, you know, those older stars and wrestlers and whatnot to kind of supplement their income. But it rubbed me the wrong way. But what really rubbed me the wrong way, to in a second. But so you understand the premise of the game show I explained?
Seemingly.
Okay. So that night I was doing a stunt. It was my favorite one of all time. It was called Shot Glass Challenge, Mystery Shot Glass Challenge. So there was 3 shot glasses. One was full of beer, one was full of whiskey, and one was full of my chewing tobacco spit. Whoever won the bid lost because they had to come on stage and do the shot, a mystery one. And I got a lady willing to do it for $50, and she took a shot, and it was the beer. And that's where it was supposed to end, but I opened the bidding back up. I called an audible, but I couldn't find anybody to come up now that it was down to 2 shot glasses. And I thought it was going to kind of end on a dud until out of nowhere, like, Screech came from backstage, and he just grabbed a shot glass, downed it. That was the whiskey. Place went crazy. And then after that, I still don't understand why, he picked up the chewing tobacco spit, and he just did a shot of that. Place went crazy, which was great. He kind of saved the show, so I owe him there. But he later came up and, like, was demanding extra money from me because he said it made him sick. And he ended up charging a bunch of room service and stuff to the room that was in my name that I got for him, like $300 some worth of Pepsi. And so from there, he became my mortal enemy because I hate when people steal stuff from me. And he had, like, you know, a rider in his contract. I had him a cooler full of Pepsi in the room, but he didn't touch any of that. He was ordering the $6 a piece room service Pepsi all night. So I ended up getting pissed off at that and ended up selling a story to TMZ.com, which was my first and only time ever doing that. But I kind of made my money back doing that.
Rest in peace, Screech. Too bad.
Yeah, I see you in hell, bastard.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of bad stories, but I can only speak to mine, and I enjoyed the whole evening. Again, I drank a lot that night, but like I said, I found him way funnier than I expected. So Ricky, I've enjoyed this. I hope the fans of Artie have enjoyed this. I appreciate. I know we had a little mix up on the timing, but we're good now. Hopefully, people come out to St. Louis. If you're not from St. Louis, Streeter, I know, is fairly close down 55, so Streeter, Illinois. If you're in the Midwest, we can find Ricky. Anything else you'd like to tell the folks before we wrap up here today?
No, I guess that'll do it. The name of my show, by the way, Bro Country Band, is the name of the one-man show. And you can find all that information at brocountryband.com or follow me on all the social medias if you want. If not, who cares?
That's right. Who cares? Don't follow me. I don't care. All right, that's Ricky Melton. Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everybody coming here to watch, and we'll see you next time.